Welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We're taking on Lucia here with a quick rematch. We're going to go ahead and try out this Edelgard team again, just to get some more practice. And really, I should be practicing with the one that I'm going to be using for Light Season, because that one is not going to be as powerful as this one, since it will be Winter Edelgard, and she doesn't hit as hard as Valentine's Edelgard. But, I mean, similarities, blue matchup. It should work out okay, I'm hoping. It just means that there are more things that I can't initiate into, but I'll figure it out. I'll get it to work. Just gotta put the final touches on it. I'm trying to figure out if I should run Armored Blaze on Winter Edelgard, or just keep the regular Gale Force, which means it would be one less action. So, I don't know. That's something to be considered. But yeah, this is what we're doing right now. What I'm going to do is clear the traps first, voice crack, and then get going. But yeah, Sakura banner's out, legendary banner. I don't know if it's like, what's the word here? What am I trying to say? I don't know if it's like, when the character isn't very popular, what I like personally, what I think that they should, it's so obvious. Like, if you have a character that just isn't like super popular and you want to put them on a banner and make the unit sell, just make the unit good. you know, that just feels like the obvious thing to do. There's no point in putting out a character on a banner that doesn't have like the highest popularity. Not saying that Sakura is really that. I'm looking primarily at like some of the ones that are kind of lower back on the totem pole, like some of the genealogy characters. Midir comes to mind. Yeah, you want to make those units, just make the unit good. If the unit is good, it doesn't matter if they're unpopular or not. People will just pull because good unit. And we've seen that before with Pijaji, Beefcakes. You know, that gravity thing, really, really nice. And also the, you know, just how that unit works overall. It's a positive in terms of not the most popular character, but rearmed. She just had a lot of stuff going for her. I'm not saying that Sakura is bad, but they could have pushed the envelope a lot more to make her more desirable. Primarily, the gimmicks are nice. The warp gimmicks, the salvage. I like the new status effect, and it's very interesting how it works. It's like none of the effects are really in salvage itself. It's really all on, aside from the Kanto, it's really all on Sakura. It's so interesting, which means that essentially you can't take out her C skill, because if you take out her C skill, then salvage is kind of a dud, which is not great, I want to say, in terms of the design. And then also she kind of has to run Ice Lock as well, or a healer assist. So I don't know how I really feel about all of those things, you know, together, but I don't think it's good. I think that's probably where I'm landing in that camp. Kind of like, you know how Winter Elir just gives you, what was it, Divinely Inspired or something like that? He just gives that to you, and then all you have to do is be beside him to get the stuff, or close to him to get the maximum potential of the stuff. And hers is kind of like a little bit more hoops that you have to jump through. Kind of reminiscent of Ninja Lucina, where she has to Futures Focus before she gets the full effect out of her. Well, before you even get the Future Focus. But this one, I feel like it's worse, because sometimes you don't necessarily always want to put down the ice, depending on how you're playing. It's not always a positive. So, and then it means that you have to move the unit, which you probably don't want to do all the time. So yeah, just not a lot of... There are negatives about her, I feel, and primarily when I'm looking at the nerf to Kanto control, I feel like that's a huge negative. and it's probably not something you'd want your favorite unit to introduce to the game, because it does put a lot of bias there in terms of how that unit is going to be perceived, because Canto Control is pretty much one of the great equalizers for defense, and it's just a really good skill overall. So if you're going to nerf that, you pretty much have to then come out with something that's going to be even better than Canto Control, and if something is better than Canto Control, it's 100% going to be toxic. So I don't like that direction. I don't like it. That's where I've ended up on in terms of my thought process there. So yeah, I feel like there were other options that they could have went with to, you know, make her desirable. I don't like this route that they took. They definitely went with the worst path here. I don't like this timeline. And overall, just looking at her kit and everything, it's very synergistic in terms of how she's supposed to work as a unit. But man, they just did not have to do this.
Your story is
and I don't like what it spells for the game in terms of just like design space, where we're heading with it. I don't like it. But yeah, they just should have made her hit harder. If instead of focusing on all of the extra gimmicky things, even just scrap, like I'd say scrap the Canto Control thing, but then it's actually necessary to help her function, or to make her whole salvage thing function and be beneficial, or to make it work. I feel it's a big part of that. And you know, the whole thing with her mother Makoto and what her unit did, and then what she does, and blah blah blah. But they probably could have just scrapped that and just gave her way more, just make her the healer that hits the hardest ever. And that's just it. That's her gimmick. And it would immediately make her one of the best units in the game, on par with Loki. This is just not the greatest design, I want to say. I don't like it. But she's not a bad unit. If she's your favorite, then I'm sure you'll have fun using her. But definitely, I don't know why they're so afraid to let healers just hit hard. Loki already does hit hard for what she is, I guess. And she can potentially hit even harder if you want to lean a little bit more into that. And I guess you could potentially do the same with Sakura in the future as you get more healer skills, but out of the box, she should have just hit hard to begin with. Give us like some rune level of true damage on her to make her really, really desirable, you know? GG's. Alright, welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We're taking on Winter Soja. We're going to go with the Edelgard team. Well, I don't know what this one really is. Tana? I don't know. But Edelgard is here, and we're going to warp around and, you know, do some damage that way. Should be pretty straightforward. Hopefully Tana isn't dying to the Sigurd here. And then from there, we should be able to get going. Plus... okay. Alright, well, it shouldn't matter too much. Yeah, let's go ahead and... 6.
I am not sure.
Okay. Buffs. Yeah, we should be able to get it. It's fine. It's still fine. We can still go up there and get it. So this is what happens when there's no warp blocking and no far save. We can just go to town with Tana, and ooh, is there a way I could have gotten the? I'm pretty sure there's a way I could have gotten the 1 damage, but it's okay. Yeah, we just go to town with Tana here, and clean shop. Just gotta figure out who we take out. We're gonna be looking to pin maybe Gato in the corner, and then that should be that. Should have enough actions here between Edelgard and Sigurd. Should be enough. Yeah. Okay, so Sakura pasta is now a thing. So that's been cooked up. I've seen quite a bit of it practicing SDS. Just past 2 days or so. Patrick is really excited about using it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where everyone's gonna copy from. But personally, for me, I don't think it's the most successful strategy, because you don't really have a ton of nuking potential there unless you're bringing Yunaka. So if you don't have Yunaka, then I don't know how well you'll do in terms of, you know, being able to get through some of the far saves. But
Know that I'm grateful.
when Yunaka is on that team, man, Yunaka goes hard, man. She is every bit as good as I thought she was, and more. Especially on this particular map, she just zooms so far across the map. It's really annoying. Even with counter control, it doesn't even matter. You might as well not bring it. But personally, like, if I can find a way to fit it in, I'll fit it in, because
I see your plan.
every opponent isn't going to be doing the exact same thing, so you always want to find a spot for it if you possibly can. She zooms across the map, man. She's just zooming. I really hate the fact that it just feels like it's so hard to defend against, in the sense that, oh, I can actually get everything here. Yeah, let's do this, and then Sakura can get the pot, and then Lucina can take out old man here. Yeah, this is GG's. Exactly as many actions as was needed. Well, actually, I had more actions. I just didn't use all of them. But yeah, GG's. Let's play one more match, and we're gonna keep talking some more about Yunaka and Sakura. Okay, here's our second match of the day. Now, yeah, let's just go ahead and try to pick up where we left off. Here's Yunaka here. This is the Yunaka team. And we're going to try to do some damage here with her. Yeah, what was I saying? It's so difficult to play against it, in the sense that if you don't have a nuke that can survive, a tank, a fire save that can survive Yunaka, which pretty much boils down to Hardy Baron, which, you know what's crazy? I feel like every far save that we've gotten, like every dominant far save that we've gotten has at some point had to end up running Hardy Bearing. I'm going back even as far as Ascended Fjorm. When she first came out, she started just falling off hard because she started losing the speed checks, and then you started to have to run Hardy Bearing on her. And then I think a couple months after that, we got, what was it? Tiki? And then I think a little bit after that, we got Valentine's,
I greet you.
Takumi, who was pretty good. I really did enjoy Valentine's Takumi.
Give me an order.
He was probably one of the better fire saves that we had in terms of just being able to win speed checks. But yeah, Fjorm, not only Fjorm, but every far save in the game currently is going through that particular experience where they have to run Hardy Bearing just to survive Yunaka. And it's really interesting how it's just cyclical. We're always going through the same ups and downs in the game. Without the brave attacks, without the desperation, Yunaka would not have been as difficult to deal with as she is, but the desperation really just makes her that much more challenging to survive against, because she gets all 4 hits in before you're able to counterattack. And the only way to counteract that is, Hardy Bearing. That's literally what it does. So I feel like it's mandatory for this SDR, since we can't do anything about banning Yunaka. She is going to appear, so if you don't have a plan for her otherwise, I'd recommend Hardy Bearing. Or I've seen, modicum of success with people running Deflect Missile, even though if she gets that lethality off, you're really not getting a ton of damage reduction, since lethality pierces all of the damage reduction from Deflect Missile. So Hardy Bearing really is the way to go, but it also just depends on who your support is. Like, I was looking to build a team around Ascended Fjorm, because I was well, really just
Know
hoping
that
that
I'm
Fjorm would be able to outspeed her. But the problem is I just haven't been able to find a combination of units of 5, a team, to really work with Fjorm, because I'd have to build around Fjorm, and there aren't that many infantry units that give out additional speed. Aside from, let's say, Alir, and that's pretty much it. Everyone else pretty much just gives blue buffs to attack and speed, and that's not really what I'm looking for. For Fjorm, Ice Stripe Fjorm, really what you want is to be able to win the speed check against Yunaka so that you don't get quadded, so that you won't be able to get the Desperation lethality off and KO you on the 4th hit. That's really what you want to do with Fjorm. Just win the speed check, but it is incredibly difficult to do so because naturally Yunaka is just faster. New unit, more speed. It was eventually going to happen, but you are able to get it up there with support like Sedith plus. It's really just Sedith pretty much is really all that you need to really win that speed check, and you can add extra things there to make it even more difficult for them to outspeed you. You can get like up to, like with Sedith plus Lucina, you can get about 15. You can get about 19 speed in combat between that combination, and then it really comes down to whether or not the Yunaka is the captain, which means that you're not going to get the set of support because it's more than likely going to be a secret maneuver, which is really the main problem that I'm having building a team with Fjorm this SDR season. I don't want to rely too much on Sedith because if Yunaka is there and Yunaka is the captain, then she's automatically going to be outsped, because all of the speed is going to be coming from Sedith if Sedith is on the team and that's a drive, or if there's like blue feud or something. Even though I don't suspect Yunaka would run that, since her C skill is what gives her the desperation. So I don't think blue feud would be there, but yeah, if Yunaka is the captain, I automatically lose out on all the speed that Sedith is providing, which means that Fjorm just dies and you're just opened up to everything else that is available to the opponent. You're not going to be able to. That's the problem. Isn't that Yunaka attacks? The problem is that you can't chase down to get a retaliatory kill, and that's the problem with the Yunaka Sakura combination, or Sakura with anyone in general. Not being able to chase your opponent down to get the kill. That's what makes her so strong for SD, as probably the only place that I'd even consider her to be a good unit. Outside of that, she just doesn't do enough in my opinion. But yeah, in SD, she's very good in terms of just getting units away. It's not great because a lot of times the opponent or whoever is using that strategy is probably going to end up outside of the capture area, which means they're usually going to be losing points, since being outside of the capture area is typically the safest place to be. But you win just by hitting and running, since they can't, chase you down. I'm trying to figure out how to build a team around that, but it's not that easy, man. It ain't easy. I'm thinking Felix will be the primary pick in that situation, but then it would be really easy to get a retaliatory kill on Felix, since Sakura is going to outspeed him, and also she has sweep effects, dazzle, the dazzling staff, and then whoever else is there will more than likely be able to kill Felix. There's just so many units these days that are actually able to take out Felix. So I don't know, man. I feel like you need 5 movement or additional actions, and it's so hard to fit that into a team composition on this map because of the terrain effect. So it's quite difficult, man. It's quite this is not a
know that I'm grateful.
A chase-friendly map. It's not very easy to chase down your opponents on this map, unless you're bringing Sigurd. But then it's also kind of hard to get the far save over there to save as well, so I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a difficult combination to put together, but I feel like I want to build around Fjorm. for this SDR, and then I'll figure it out from there. If I had like Byleth as well, I feel like Byleth is also Winter Byleth is also a very good pick here. For the where did he has boots? You stupid tree. Yo, does he have armored boots, or did I not pay attention and he has the... Okay, that's the Sigurd ring. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention there. That sucks. Stupid tree. Okay. Alright, so that was a big throw. I would have played that differently if I had been paying attention to the fact that he had the Sigurd ring there. GG's. Okay, let's try to recover here. We're gonna go with the safe approach. We're gonna use the double tank team for this one, since there's no range units here, really. So yeah, let's just throw Ray up there. I could have also just used Sita here, but I'm worried that Felix would have done the thing where he just warps behind me, which is what he's done all the other times since I don't have Gatekeeper this season. So yeah, better choice is to go with this team here, since we have warp bubble shenanigans on Hearthfulger? No. Neathhogger. Yeah, we have it on Neathhogger. So yeah, this should be fine. It's going to take a while to tank everything and blow everything up, but we should be able to get through it. So let me just set this up and then we'll get going.
What?
Big yawn. Yo, I was really surprised that that tree man there had the Sigurd ring. I really missed that. I thought he was just... Well, the plan was just to leave him there, since he wouldn't have been able to reach otherwise, and then get the pots and then, call it a day. But that wasn't the case. Maybe I should have left. If I had noticed, we probably would have had to leave either the duo unit alive or Kavaser alive. One of the two of them. Probably Kavaser, since I don't think she would have been able to kill anything. But then also I wasn't in a good position to avoid taking a hit on some of my squishier units. So I don't know. It would have been a lot more difficult, I think, because I don't think I would have gotten 3 units to box in either of them. So maybe a different strategy there would have been required. If not, just to not get the pots all together. I don't know. I don't know what the answer there was. It's fine. We lost. It's fine. But yeah, building a team around Fjorm. So my idea was to try to use status effects to make up for what I'm missing with Sedith, or to try to come close to what I'm getting with Sedith. So I was looking at using Alir, because that's 5 potentially. I think I keep forgetting to double check that. Alir's Winter Alir, and then what's his face? Rune. Probably even Summer, whatever, Ninja Tharja, and then Ninja Lucina, just to like get all the speed I can possibly get. But the problem with that team composition should be pretty obvious. There just aren't that many units to cover you, meaning there's 2 spots that the enemy can attack from, top and bottom, depending on how they approach. It's not like the previous map where it was through the middle. The 2 main cav openings are there, top, depending where they're going from, and then bottom. There's 2 spots that you'd potentially have to block. And with that team composition that I just described, Tharja, Lucina, Rune, none of those 3 units are going to be able to survive against, let's say, a Sigurd, who I'm pretty sure will be common as well. So I'd have to depend on my ice, and when the ice runs out, all we would have is Alir. So not the greatest, that team composition, in terms of having some type of frontliner aside from Alir to cover those blind spots. To have really what I would need there is more bulwark, but it's not possible. So I had to drop Tharja, or drop the Tharja idea, since I can't figure out how to fit her in. It doesn't make sense in terms of melee coverage. Fjorm is not going to be able to do it in terms of tanking melee. That's not going to be her job, which means I'm down whatever amount of speed, and I'm down the buffs from Anathema, so I'm just not going to get that. And then that team composition also does not have a way to heal. Breath of Life is important, especially for Ather versus Sigurd. I was doing some testing and I'm playing some matches, and yeah, Ather just still dies to, or at least with that combination, he still dies to Emblem Sigurd. He only heals for like 9 or 7 with the Breath of Life, which isn't enough. You really need more for him to survive that Sigurd attack. So that, again, just feeling like it's not working. And then also I was doing I was playing some matches, and Rune, man, I don't know if I just wasn't running the right kit on Rune, but Rune really failed me in terms of, I guess Rune can take out Rhea, since more than likely he'll win that red check, but he was failing to take out Neathauger. Pretty much everyone. I could not get a kill with Rune because I was going to run the Miracle build, since you can make it work with Ather, but I was just not able to kill anything with Rune, which was a huge disappointment. Because if he's going to be that additional nuke, then he needs to be able to play a role. The stats there is 7 plus 5, I'm assuming, from Ather, so that's 12, plus X amount, at least 6 from Tharja, so that's what, 18, which is roughly around what you'd get from Seteth plus Ninja Lucina. So typically I was hoping that would have been enough. I didn't even bother to test it out because the team composition was just flawed. So I started to remove units that were giving me in combat stats, like Rune. I removed Tharja. So now I'm just down to Ather, and with Ather, it's not enough. Fjorm is getting outsped by Yunaka, and basically just has to run Hardy Bearing. So I feel like that's already a failure, because you don't want to run Hardy Bearing on Fjorm, because there's still other units out there that could potentially outspeed her. So like, I'm looking at Lucina, I'm looking at Bernadetta. It's not the greatest. So that would mean that I'd probably have to run Seteth, and I can't figure out how to get Seteth onto the team, because again, I need another frontliner to tank against Sigurd. And if I'm running another frontliner, it means that I have one less nuke, and it would be basically down to, because I got Micaiah in there instead, I'd be down to Micaiah to try to kill things. And that's just not a good option, I feel. That's not the greatest thing to be doing. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of tough trying to put together a team for this SDR. I don't know what I'm going to boil it down to. I feel like even Ather I should probably swap out, because if I can't get Divine Nectar in there, then he's just not surviving Sigurd. And I feel like there's no point in bringing Divine Nectar, because Heithrun as a unit doesn't provide as much or any speed support whatsoever. So Fjorm doesn't really benefit from having Heithrun around, which is unfortunate. Heithrun benefits Ather, but that's about it for that team composition, and that's not good enough for me. So I don't know. Currently I'm all the way back down to Fjorm and Micaiah. Those two are the two that are currently on the team. I don't know how the rest of the team is going to go. I'm going to have to change Ather, which means either Sita or someone else. I kind of also wanted to use Ather because of his dual button, which will help me stall, but he just isn't surviving the Felix matchup. He would have more than likely won against Ira because of the Brave hits, but not winning the Sigurd matchup is really unfortunate, which means I'd again have to bring Heithrun, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's really tricky building a team for this SDR, but there's still plenty of time, so I'm sure I'll figure something out. Just gotta keep plugging away at it, see what I come up with. Something to counter the new pasta is preferable. That's really what I'm aiming to do. I don't know, man. Overall, I feel like I've just been seeing a ton of negative reactions to this new Sakura. Kind of comparable to what we got last year with when Duo Leon came out. It feels like it's kind of on the same level of people being pissed off, and it's kind of peculiar because it's Sakura. You don't expect that from her. So I don't know. Personally, I don't think like for me, I don't like. I know like I'm just probably gonna skip this banner, but I'm probably gonna get the unit in the future because the last banner I skipped was the bridal banner last year, which you're in on it, and then I still ended up getting all of the units from that banner. So even though I feel like skipping this banner is probably the right thing to do, it's not really going to change anything, really. It's just a momentary protest. That's pretty much all it is. And I don't necessarily think anything's going to come of it because we've already been through this cycle before. And the game just keeps going regardless. We've seen how much money the game makes, so I don't feel like at this point there's any point in having any fears of the game dying because we stopped spending. It would have to be like something severely bad, and I don't think that's what this is. This is just a design issue. I don't think that this is what that is. This is going to bring a halt to the game in any stretch of the imagination. It's also like from the positive aspect of it, it's created a new angle of approach in terms of gameplay stuff where you can do stuff and ignore Canto control. So that's a whole people who are into the gameplay stuff will enjoy that, but others are just going to be up in arms about it. So I don't know, man.
I greet you.
It's kind of disappointing that Ather isn't able to do anything here, but we'll get through nonetheless. It's just the 2 units left, and
guide me.
Enough turns to get through it. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. But I feel like those are my overall thoughts on the matter. I'm not really looking forward to much from the spring banner. It typically doesn't really push the needle. The last good spring unit I want to say that we got was Carla. Everything else has been kind of whatever in terms of like meta wise. Nothing really too outlandish, too crazy on the spring banner. I want to say even Spring Mirabilis would be the last good unit that we got on the spring banner. So I'm not really too looking forward to that, which I guess is a good break to have, since that would make 2 banners in a row that you could probably just look forward to skipping because there probably won't be anything great on there. And then that will put the new Heroes banner afterwards. I think that one should probably be something to look forward to, I guess. And then after that, we're gonna have the big emblem banner at the end of March to really look forward to. So March is looking to be a pretty easy month in terms of summons. Unless you're planning to go crazy on Hero Rises, which I'm kind of like, I'll probably spark for Hector, and then that's about it. I don't think I'll go much further. I only need the 1 extra copy, if any at all. I don't really need any at all, because unless they put out a new armored unit, armors are going to just start falling off hard. I feel it coming. They've pushed quite a few armored units in comparison to last year, where we really starved for them in terms of just good far save and near saves. They're really pushing them this time around. So there's going to be a drought naturally, and we're going to suffer in that drought. And I feel like Yunaka is the beginning of the drought for me personally. I feel like it's going to get more range focused from here on out. Unless there's room for surprises. There's always room for surprises, but I feel that's the direction that we're heading in. Refines and remixes. Elamine looking like she's gonna be a dud. That's about what I expected from her. Don't expect too much from a remix from False Start. I doubt they're gonna do very much with that until she gets an ult, or until some other unit gets False Start. And Sita, it's looking like a tuned Sita, which is pretty much what I expected as well. GG's. See you in the next one.